Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to be experimenting if sweet corn can actually be used to make pap, okay? So first of all, we're going to remove the corn kernels from the cob, and we're going to do this, and then we're going to rinse them. Please don't use salt to rinse your corn. Don't even let salt touch anything you're going to use to rinse your corn or handle your corn, because it's going to ruin your pap. Romans 1:16, For I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation to everyone that believeth, to the Jew first, and also to the Greek. Amen. So we're going to be rinsing our kernels, and we're going to do it very thoroughly, and make sure there's no sand in it, and make sure that the water is as clear as it can be. Then I went further to covering it. So I did put a lid on it, and I soaked the corn for 3 days. This is what it looked like after 3 days, you can see. And of course it had a stench. You can actually soak this for 4 days if it's you're using fresh corn, but I soaked mine for 3 days, and I changed the water on the second day. So I'm going to be washing it thoroughly because it has a stench. And if this actually is able to turn into pap for me, I don't want the pap to actually have a smell or a stench. So this is the chiffon cloth we're going to be using to sieve. I'm just going to tie it very firmly under the bowl so that I can have a good working surface to sieve my pap. And I'm going to make a very tight knot at the bottom. So next, I'm going to be scooping my pap into the blender. Make sure you have a very good blender. Any blender that has maybe 500 watts above will be able to do the job and blend your corn smoothly. So after blending my corn smoothly, the next thing I want to do is to sieve my pap. And I'm going to sieve my pap. I'm going to scoop it onto the chiffon cloth surface, and I'm going to sieve it continuously. Now this is going to take a little bit of arm work, but the pap we get in the end is totally worth the whole trouble. So how would you know when you've gotten the most pap out of it? Now when you sieve it and you have the shaft left in your hand, the shaft should be dry and not moist, and that's when you would know that you've gotten the most out of your pap. So you're going to do this in batches, okay? And you're going to keep doing that and sieving onto the surface. If you like, you can add water onto it to make sure you get the most pap out of it. And you just keep doing this and scooping onto the surface. You can increase the quantity as you like or as your arms can tolerate. Make sure you don't waste the pap. And of course, I make sure not to waste the pap since I was trying to experiment something. I didn't want to give room for doubts or any had I knows that maybe it would have worked or maybe not. So I wanted to just follow the real process that I knew how to do best, that I've used before, and it worked for me. So I kept on doing this. I kept on sieving, and mind you, it's gonna form the smooth pap is going to sieve under the chiffon cloth. So be mindful if your bowl is getting too full. Mine got full, and I had to loosen the chiffon cloth and retie it again and continue sieving. Of course, I emptied the bowl and I continued sieving. So this is what the shaft looks like. It's meant to be dry and not moist, and you just feel it in your hands that there's nothing more this shaft can give off. Okay, it's gonna be messy, so I advise you do this in your sink. Don't do this outside because you don't want to contaminate your food. So yes, so I put all the shaft again in it, and I decided to put more water to make sure and double check that I got the most pap out of the shaft, okay? So I did that and satisfied my conscience. So You can see that the consistency is actually changing. So this experiment, I was really just excited by it. I did leave the bowl after sieving to stand for about 4-5 hours, and then I went ahead to sieve, guys. Normally this should not happen. The pap should not just trickle out like it's water. It's meant to have a thick consistency. So the pap shouldn't just trickle out of the bag. So I knew that something was wrong. So I just left the pap in the muslin bag and I left it there to see what was going to happen. Honestly, I didn't put any weight on it to see because I knew something was wrong. So I just transferred it to a mason jar and I wanted it to settle down. And then I left it for a couple more hours to see. And it did settle down. You can see the upper part clear. I was determined to see the end of this, so I removed the clear water out of it and I wanted to make the pap just as if, so I didn't add water to the pap. I just made it as if I've already made the pap into a paste and I'm just ready to add hot water into it. And then I just poured it into the pot directly on the stove to see what was really going on. Honestly, guys, this was a complete disaster. Time, money, effort wasted. So please do not use sweet corn to make pap. We're gonna devise another means to make pap. It's definitely not sweet corn. Thank you so much for watching and God bless you.